Good morning from 5:40 a.m. Seoul, Korea. Hey guys, I yesterday I went over the PSAT from 2016, October 19th. I'm awake, barely awake, and I'm able to I'm this is just my routine. I'm a little tired, but I want to get through some planning for the August SAT. So, without further ado, let's just show you my screen and get started. Uh, let me let me update my screen. I wish I did like vocal warm-ups, but I, you know, just can't right now. Just gotta keep on going. All right. So here's what I'm seeing. Over here, we have a Google spreadsheet that I'm about to open up right now. For okay, now that I think about it, this is probably just not the best to have over here. So I'll actually just be looking at the data separately and on my own. But I'll be showing you my notes. Oh. So four people have, two people attended, two people, I think, at least eight-ish people indicated interest. Two people attended the the chat, the meeting yesterday, and four people have filled out the survey materials yesterday. So based on this, I'm trying to decide exactly how to proceed with this SAT class. Like in my head, I have roughly two models of how to do it. Uh, the first model, and I'll type it out over here. Excuse me. Okay, so the first model of how I'm going to do it is the very standard SAT prep course. So in the last 6 weeks leading up to the SAT, in the last 6 weeks leading up to the SAT, these students should focus a little less on like learning basic concepts of like what the question types are, which is what the prep books focus on, and focus a little more on just getting real practice. What the classic SAT course would be, I'm going to give you a practice test, and then the students will will solve the practice test before coming to class, and then during the class we review it. We review it question by question, and My spin on this is just that I instead of telling the answer right away, I sort of have my students think about what the answer is before I tell it to them. So that does take a little more time, but what it does is it allows you to sort of replay replay the question in your head. And working study, I see your question. What's up? Welcome to the stream. It allows students to replay the sort of the difficulties of that question through their head, and then make their final choices before I give it to them. That I liken that. I use my analogy for that is when you go to like the gym and you have a personal trainer. You're supposed to be challenged, right? You're supposed to do like 4 sets of 12 bench presses or whatever. And on your final couple reps, you're gonna start failing. It's when it's hard for you, you're gonna start failing. Well, my job as a personal trainer is to let you fail, but do it safely, and with proper stimulation of your muscles. So I'm not gonna just pick up that barbell for you. I'm not gonna just like take that barbell and then pump it for you, tell you the answer, and just explain this is the right answer. I'm gonna let you struggle with that answer until you're about to fail, and then I just gently push it up for you. As in, I take your failing reasoning and I gently nudge it in the right direction of the correct reasoning. I really, I've been teaching SAT and other English subjects for a while, since 2011, and I like that kids all raise their scores and whatever just by getting a lot of practice in. But the main thing is, do they learn to think independently? And you will never grow your muscles if your personal trainer just like does all the hard parts for you, and you will never learn to think independently if someone else is doing all the explaining for you. Okay, so that's the only spin on the classic SAT course. And that's version 1. Version 2 is a totally different version, but let me talk to working study first. How much will the course be, or is it free? It's not free. How much it will be really depends on a couple things. But right now, when I was in New York City, and I just Googled like some popular places, they were $60 per hour if you were offline, and they were $30 per hour if you were online. And I'm thinking less than that, thinking like 15 to 20 an hour for the whole thing. For the whole thing, I have no idea how much that would be, because I have to figure out how many hours I can even do, which is really tough given that I have a full summer schedule. So I'm waking up early. I'm waking up 5, and I'm starting my streaming at like 5:45. So when will I start? What time will I actually do my classes? I could do it at this time. But I also want to make sure that I'm like alert and ready. So I have to figure out the actual timing of it and how many hours I can do total. But 6 hours. And version one of the prep course would be basically. Basically just practice test review. So that's the short version of the practice of the SAT course. Now I am considering a different version of the SAT course, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to look at these notes. I'm not sharing these notes right now on my screen. I'm looking at these answers to a survey. Okay, here there's like a survey here that I'm looking at. All right, and I'm looking at people's answers to the survey to figure out, what people's needs are. Because the big difference between SAT courses at academies and the kids that are finding me on YouTube is generally at the academy, it's the parents who kind of push their kids into the academy, whereas on YouTube, it's mostly the students who are deciding that they need it. Very different. So I feel like that gives me some leeway with making the class more right for self-motivated students. So if everyone's very self-motivated, you know, I could do a different type of class. Basically, this different type of class is where you, okay, where you study more independently, but everyone sort of supports each other. It's more socially oriented. Now, I'm just looking at people's preference level for that. And it's lower, so I'm gonna stop explaining that. Let me just kind of go through some notes right now and sort of think out loud about how this class could go. Okay. So the way that people have been preparing so people right now, some of them are pretty happy with their preparations, some of them are not so happy with their preparations. The person who's most happy with their preparations, they've been taking their own practice tests. They have pretty clear ideas about where to focus on reading and writing and math, and they're also using my streams as well as their own practice tests and stuff. So the one who's most satisfied with their practice so far, with their preparation so far, is someone who's been kind of clear about what their weaknesses are. For these, for most of these people, some of them are using my videos and some of them are not. And three, full, five reading only. I see. So, one of these students has taken almost all of the QASs, which is going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do a class based on practice tests if you've already done all the QASs, unless you're okay with reviewing the same QASs that you've seen before. Roughly how many, and by the way, I actually think a lot of students would benefit from reviewing the same QASs that they've done before if they weren't very thorough in the first place. So like it's like with vocabulary, if you learned diffident, right, at one point in your life, it's just that you've seen it once, but when you see a flashcard, you have no idea what it means. That means you still haven't really mastered it. So if you've seen a passage once before in your life, and then you look at the questions and you still can't answer them, then you still haven't mastered that. So I do think it's not bad to go back to the old questions. That said, I understand why most kids don't like that. So because it feels like a waste of time and money, and I understand that. That makes sense. But also, if you didn't thoroughly review the practice test the first time, then you're kind of wasting your time and score. So I think there's two arguments to be had for that one. But yeah, one of these students did take almost all of these QASs, so that makes it harder to find materials for these students because I don't want to use non-QAS materials. Non-College Board materials are pretty bad in quality. So that's that. Almost all these students, no, all of these students have used Khan Academy. Some of them have used QAS, some of them have used YouTube, and 1600 IO, free stuff, okay? All of these kids have used some paid things like tutorme.com, StarU, UWorld, Princeton Review, and tutoring, some books. StarU and UWorld. StarU and UWorld must be the same group, right? StarU, UWorld. Let me just double check. Oh, UWorld is this whole test-taking empire, huh? Oh no, StarU and UWorld are different. Why are they all U's, man? What is that? Should I do tutoring? You tutor? What's these names? I don't like these names, man. StarU and UWorld. What the heck? All right, whatever. Most recent SAT reading score. One of these students hasn't shared, so that makes it hard for me to know how to aim the class. But interesting. Right now we're trying to get we're looking like kids who are getting 300s, trying to aim at 350-ish. It's the gut feeling that I'm getting right now, overall. So how about this? I should write some notes now. Goal SAT. I'm gonna call it prep. And we have uh, students indicated interest, maybe 8. Survey filled out survey 4. Let's see, goals looking like take reading 300 to 350-ish. I'll just say reading 300 for now, based on these 4 students. And I wonder what are the costs of these? What are the costs of these like typical tutoring? I think they're all like in the $20 a range for tutoring, right? Maybe the more expensive. Now, by the way, tutoring can be anywhere from like $15 an hour to like $300 an hour. I know because in Korea I am well paid, but uh, but but the reason I'm doing things for very cheap on YouTube is because I actually do think it's kind of silly what people pay for tutoring. I think it's legit silly, and and also I don't think tutoring is what most kids need. Tutoring is very specific for your situation. Like there's some serious issues, or you have there's situations, right? Either you have serious issues or there's a situational limitation. I don't think tutoring is generally the answer for most kids. Now, is it a free or paid course? It's paid. It's paid for sure. But this first, again, right now I'm designing my first pilot course, for the YouTube kids, the kids who are finding me through YouTube, and I am trying to price it like extremely competitively. So if you like, you tell me what you've paid, and I'm thinking of being under that. So I looked up New York. When I was in New York, I looked up like popular programs in the area, and I saw like $30 an hour for offline. Sorry, $60 an hour for offline, like in-person classes, and like $30 an hour for online classes. So I'm thinking cheaper, like 20 an hour. Maybe even 15 an hour, depending on the situation. So yeah, I'm looking at now. I want price to not be the main factor, because if you guys were to join my class, I actually care more about the environment and the motivation level. So if you can, like, for me, even if a kid wants to come in and is willing to pay $500 an hour, like if that kid is just not prepared to actually work, I would rather not have the student in my first pilot class. I would not ruin my pilot class for money. It's not, I'm already making plenty of money. It's fine. Okay. The money is not my point. I have my regular courses for my academy work. Okay. And right now I'm trying to create the perfect course for YouTube kids. And I feel like the people who are finding me on YouTube are different from the people who are finding me through Academy. If you're finding me through YouTube, you're the kind of kid who actually skims through my streams. You're unusual. You're an unusual kid. Okay, so I feel like there's a more appropriate class for you than the sort of standard, sort of manufactured experience, the sort of mass manufactured experience that I have to give at an academy. So, yeah. Yeah, I feel you in the struggle. Now, today, I won't be able to give you a lot of advice, but I hope if you haven't seen it, I'll just show it to you actually. If you haven't seen it, I have a very unorganized, but I think pretty useful FAQ page. Okay, I have this page. So you can read a lot of my advice here. Besides obviously the hardest way, but the most high quality way of getting my advice is to see how I actually do on the streams. But that takes a lot of time, right? I also explain my strategy during the streams, but how are you gonna find them? Whatever. My streams are unorganized, right? Or semi-organized. The second less time-consuming way is to read my thoughts, and then the least time-consuming way is to ask me questions directly. But then for me, I actually have a schedule. I need to actually plan my class this week. So I'm trying to focus on this right now. All right. So yeah, you can skim through that when you have time. I have general guidance on how to diagnose your weaknesses. If you search for the word diagnose, do Command F or Control F and search for the word diagnose. That will help you a little, because that's one of my major. That post that I wrote about diagnosing helped a kid jump up his score. So it's a good one. Okay, I'm looking at this. This has no personal information, so I actually don't feel. I think this would be okay. I think people will be okay with showing their answers to this, because none of this is personal. Give me. I'll actually put it on the screen so you guys can see it too. Oh my god, my computer is lagging. Oh my god, my computer's overheating. Give me a sec. I need a way of conducting this heat away. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is my fan, my two fans are now turned on, and hopefully we could cool off my computer a little so that the lag isn't as bad. It's pretty bad right now. All right, well, I'll just work with the lag until it hopefully gets a little better. For the time being, so I'm trying to show you what I think is. Oh my god. Now, by the way, if any of you guys on YouTube want to also fill out the survey that I'm showing you, I can send you the link. I feel a little iffy sending a link on this chat just because, yeah, I feel a little iffy sending a link on this chat. So please join the Discord. The Discord link is in the description below, and you can find the link to this survey. I'm showing you my survey. Above this survey, right, the first, from rows 2 through 9, there's a bunch of personal information, so I'm hiding that. But I'm just looking at some of these answers over here. Okay. Okay, yeah. Confirmation for your reasoning. Okay. I can tell that Tan is clearly... Yo, good job. Good on you, Tan. You're clearly the most self-motivated student. Okay. Accountability, social pressure. Okay. Yeah. By the way, does anyone on YouTube have good ideas for what other needs to list over here? Okay. Confirmation for your reasoning is highest for Ton. Everyone else is pretty high on regular schedule and accountability. I'm just looking at vocabulary improvement. Interesting. Everyone thinks their vocab is, vocab is such a marketing word. Like, I kind of hate making vocabulary such a focus, but I think everyone is stressed out about their vocabulary, which is, I it's understandable. I was too when I was a student. I keep downplaying it, but maybe I'm taking the wrong strategy. Maybe I need to focus on vocabulary head on. Like, I keep trying to emphasize how you can get the answers without vocabulary. But instead, what if I just said, your vocabulary sucks, and I just force you guys, I just use your self-guilt and make you study harder. I don't know. Like, as a teacher, I really want to emphasize using the resources you already have, as in, okay, your vocabulary is at this level. Now, using this level of vocabulary, how can you still get the right answer, right? Or how can you still increase your chances of getting the right answer? That's the way I've been teaching. I don't know. Everyone's so sensitive about their vocabulary. Anyway, but you guys shouldn't. It's true. You should improve your vocabulary. So grammar, yeah, that's complicated, huh? So people are pretty different on this one. Okay. And some of these questions came out later. That's why some of them are blank. Okay. So if you could design a course for your own needs, how would you do it? Design so I'm able to ask many questions, mainly reading oriented teaching. Walk through strategies, reading passages, answer questions, grammar concepts, vocab practice. Whew. That's a lot in one class. Okay. It's pretty different. Walk through strats. So for 1 and 2 and 4, especially 2 though, I feel like we definitely. It's interesting. There's a split here. There is a bit of a split here. So I think today the main lesson for me is that there is a bit of a split, and I just need to choose one and move forward and see who's interested in that one, right? But what I can say about August is prepping for the August test is literally during my summer busy season. So for me, I have to choose something that's realistic for my schedule, that doesn't require a lot of extra prep that I haven't already done before. So the usual prep that I'm used to needs to be 90% of this class. So right now my gut feeling says something like no grammar right now. I think grammar is just gonna add too much complexity. So no writing. It's just a reading course. And maybe like, by the way, guys, I love writing, and I like teaching the writing class, writing test as well. It's just that this summer I don't think I have the mental capacity to do it, mental and physical capacity to do it. So that's why I'm not doing it right now. I think I'll roll out the writing stuff, hopefully by the end of this year. Before now, just reading. So no writing, just reading. Well, practice test review oriented. I think that's the main thing. We need to be doing practice tests We need to be doing practice tests. Yeah, so it's gonna be QAS practice tests, and it should be slow paced so that we can ask. Yeah, we can ask the questions. I think I'm actually leaning towards the way that Tan is doing. You know what Tan is talking about is basically the way I do it anyway. It's my sort of. It's my variant on this. My version of the SAT Academy mass manufactured experience is that I make you guys think about it. So the SAT mass manufactured experience, now obviously different academies do have different styles, but here's my sort of stereotypical version of it, okay? My stereotypical version of it is I am a walking textbook, okay? I've memorized the explanations for questions 1 through 52, and I'm just like rapid fire. Like, oh, okay, 2 people got B wrong. Well, B is wrong because, pss, and then C is wrong because, pss, and then D is right because, pss, and then move on to number 2. Number 2, okay, look, 50% of you got C correct, but, some of you guys chose A and B. Okay, A is wrong because, and B is wrong because, pss, and then C is right because, pss, and, you're just like a rapid fire textbook. You're a textbook, but because you are a human being and with a sense of humor, the students like you more than they would like a textbook because you can actually relate to them socially. Whereas a textbook just feels very dry and everything is, there's no humor and there's no social connection. There's no human connection. You can't ask the textbook questions and the explanations on textbooks are kind of short. Whereas the human version of the textbook can have better, more detailed answers and, and all those other goodies, right? So you're basically a human textbook. That's the mass manufactured SAT course. That's not bad. I think it's fine. It's just that, and I think there is a world. I think some people really just need that. That's all they need. They just need a human. They just need a human textbook. Because they're really, what? All they really need to do is hear the reasoning. Like, oh, yeah, I got it. And I think it works for kids who are already pretty smart. But the problem is I do find a lot of kids get stuck. They get stuck and they stop improving on their reading very, very quickly because either because they're overwhelmed by how many questions there are and how many questions they're getting wrong. So they're not strategizing. On their weaknesses, or because it's just tiring, dude. It's just so many things, so many questions. Like just like going through all of that. It's sort of just like rinse and repeat, and it gets a little overwhelming. So I want to do something that's focused more on. So the way I do it is it's focused more on you thinking. Like, okay. This is, we're at question 4. 3 of you chose B and 5 of you chose C. Look for the evidence. Are you right or are you wrong? Sometimes B is right, sometimes C. Sometimes the 3 people are right, sometimes the 5 people are right. Are you right or are you wrong? And we think about it. And once you guys get, close to the reasoning, I'll confirm the reasoning, and then I'll tell you guys how to get that answer more efficiently. So that's kind of the way I do the test. If you guys are getting 300 out of 400 for the reading, I think you should fit into this class that I'm thinking of. Now I just need to schedule it. I need to figure out where I can stick it in my schedule. All right, and that's on me. Okay, I'm going to do that on my own. I'm going to figure that out. For today, though, I have to start preparing for my day. It's 6:20. I need to start packing up and getting ready to go. So, guys, that's it for me today. If you are interested in this course, please join the Discord and ask me more questions there. And if you want to, you can actually submit your information in this in this spreadsheet. Okay, the spreadsheet is in the courses channel in the Discord server. Okay, that's it for me today. until tomorrow, have a good day. And whatever you do, whatever your passions are, whatever your interests are, whatever your weaknesses are that you're working on, whatever your goals are, make sure you're just growing. Keep on growing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.